All right, we'll call this meeting to order. The Decatur Township Board. You join me for our invocation, led by Pastor Tim Lindsay, please.
Father, thank you again. We're here. Thank you again for our public servants. Thank you for our firefighters and EMS, Lord, all leadership. Thank you for the opportunities to steward this community. Thank you for the hard work that they do. We understand the importance of tonight's meeting, and especially the next one, and Lord, very intricate and important matters. Lord, thank you for wisdom. Thank you for the strength for it. Thank you for public and those who help and to inform them in their decisions. Lord, bless them. Or may what we do tonight honor you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Flags over there. The Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, the agenda was distributed before the meeting via email. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? All right, the agenda is adopted as presented. Last meeting's meeting minutes were presented via email. Are there any changes to note?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Please.
I got to them today and was looking at them, so I didn't send it out. But the line where it says Chair Mascalera introduced the consideration of the funds in accordance with IC code. That was actually the annual report.
Oh,
okay. So I would suggest, and by law, the code says the trustee presents it. So I just recommend the minutes be altered to note that the trustee presented the 2025 annual report.
okay.
So trustee presented an annual 2025 report.
So it says that I presented them, but it needs to say that you presented them.
I think it should. And either way, it was actually the annual report period anyway. So.
Okay. Do we want to adopt them with that note, or do you want to change them and send them out? We can just revisit them again next meeting. Or...
Yeah, I can change them and then
okay. Let's do that. You know, since it seems like an important thing to know.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So
probably wise, yeah, just by law something.
Right. Right. If it was like
a
verbal thing or something like that, it'd be different. So we'll just we won't approve last meeting's minutes, and we'll do that next meeting. We'll have 2 minutes to approve next meeting. Are there any taxpayer comments? Did anybody sign in?
No.
Okay. All right, I'll turn it over to you then.
All right. Well, if I will, I'll introduce. Tonight we have regarding the building project and the financing, the presentation for you. Bring the floor over to our bond counsel and our financial representative. Let them please introduce themselves and present to you what needs to be done.
Great.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Crandall from Barnes & Thornburg, and we'll be acting as bond counsel on this. As you probably know, the township would like to build a new fire department headquarters, potentially a government office building. The trustee can talk a lot more about the needs, and as the fire department can as well. Basically, I'm here to talk to you about how we can borrow the money to be able to get the project done.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much up to speed on what we're trying to pay for and all that. So
basically what happens in this type of transaction is we're going to do a lease rental revenue bonds. So the building corporation that met right before you, they just approved that they would do the bonds. Basically what happens is that when you collect your property taxes, those property taxes will be used to pay lease rentals to the building corporation, who will actually hold the asset that is being leased out to be able to make payments on the bonds. And the term of the bonds is up to, it is 20 years. And we have the financial advisor here as well to be able to talk more about the breakdown of the interest and everything else that you might have questions about. But then the payments are made basically using those property taxes. And that is then, the building corporation makes the payment to the trustee, the bank that is going to be paying the bonds to bondholders to make sure that they get their principal and interest paid back to them, because they're the ones who lend the money to you to be able to do the project. So part of the reason why it's done this way is because, well, it's state statute. But also there's, you could do, general obligation bonds, but we'd like to go the lease rental revenue way because you have a debt limit too. And so then this does not count towards your debt limit, even though right now you don't have a debt service fund levy at all.
Yeah, we're kind of new to this, so maybe you could explain that one more time.
Sure. Okay, so a lot of places will do just a general obligation bond, which is basically you use your property taxes that you collect, and then those are just paid out to be able to pay bondholders.
Right.
The bondholders are the ones who basically lend you the money to be able to do your project. So this is going to happen.
Hold on a second.
Sure.
There's one of our board members
Oh,
is coming
sure.
in.
Please come in. Yes.
Sorry.
She's just starting. This
Just
is our
starting.
the bond council. She's telling us how this bond would
Sorry
work.
about that.
Yep.
So you would use your property taxes to pay directly, but then that counts against, if you ever need to do other projects going forward, that all counts against what you can levy for your debts. And it goes back to the Indiana Constitution of 2% of your assessed value. And so in particular with fire stations, with capital assets like this, we prefer to do a lease rental revenue bond. So you've got the asset, but basically it's going to be held by the building corporation. And that's what we just had the meeting right beforehand. And the building corporation is then going to lease it basically back to you so that you're using your property taxes to pay those lease rentals, okay, to the building corporation. When the building corporation gets those funds, they then use those lease rentals to make the payments on the bonds. So they're the ones who actually issue the debt. They're the ones who will be selling the bonds. So it'll be in the name of the Decatur Township Public Building Corporation bonds. They'll be their bonds.
Okay.
And then the bondholders will buy those bonds. And then they'll be getting the principal and interest that you're paying out using the property taxes, but again, through the building corporation. And they're the ones who give you the money up front, basically, to do your project.
Okay.
So all this will happen in the next few months or so. We plan on closing on the bonds in August. So when we close on the bonds in August, you get all of your money right there to do the project.
The building corporation gets it.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. And they're the ones who basically oversee then, but with your direction, through the fire station, government office building, to be able to do the project.
Could you repeat that one more time? The bonds in August.
Yeah. So the idea right now, the idea for the project is that we would close on the bonds mid to late August, because there's some more steps that we have to go through. So tonight, actually, what you're just doing right now is the first public hearing. The first public hearing to be able to do a notice of preliminary determination, which again, you're not acting on that tonight. That's actually next week when you meet. And so you have that, you have your appropriations of the funds. Again, not doing that tonight, you're doing that next week. But you are going to be saying that, yes, we are going to use our property taxes to pay for these lease rentals that will then pay for the bonds.
Is there a value that we've already determined?
Yeah, so the project size right now is $20,600,000, and the bonds are not to exceed $20,350,000. That is possible to change going forward, and Jeff can talk more about that. Do you want to come up now and talk about the finance? Oh, sure.
You said when the bonds close mid to late August, the money will be dispersed out after that.
Yes, that's when you get the money to be able to do the project, and then you'll have 20 years basically to pay it back.
Okay.
Okay, is our property taxes going up in your favor?
Yes. So, well, the property tax levy part will change. And do you want to? We'll start getting into the financial
Okay.
questions and.
Thank you all.
Introduce yourself too.
Jeff Peters from Peters Franklin. We're going to serve as your municipal advisor for this transaction. As part of that, we will serve as the fiduciary for Decatur Township to make sure that you get a fair and equitable treatment in the market in the sale of these bonds, etc. So in to kind of piggyback on a couple things that Stephanie said, from a strategy standpoint, in the financing of everything that you need or possibly may need going forward, if you were to issue general obligation bonds, you would not quite have enough to do this entire project, but you have cash on hand. We always advise that if you have an asset like this that you're going to finance, it is better to do it as the lease rental, because you may have fire truck needs in the future, you may have other things that you will need to issue general obligation bonds for. And if you burn all that cap doing this project, you'll be precluded from that. And you always want to have as much financial flexibility as you can. It is the same cost in transaction, whether we do it as a lease rental or whether we do it as a general obligation bond. Lease rental financings through Building Corp are very common. You'll see almost every school corporation has to do it, because under that statutory 1/3 of 2% of your assessed value, they cannot build all the facilities they need in order to provide services to students. So they do these lease rental financings. We do them for townships, cities, towns, counties, all those units of government. So perfectly normal transaction. On the prices, as Stephanie said, we're looking at a maximum amount of a project of $20,600,000, bond amount of $20,350,000, because in the interim construction period, the amount of bond proceeds that you would receive mid-August, you'll invest and get investment earnings. We've done a conservative estimate of you'll get about $250,000 if the payout is based on a schedule that engineers provided to us. Impact of tax rate. This will go on to the property tax rolls. It is above and beyond what you are levying in taxes today. You're allowed to do that because it's a debt. It is outside of your maximum levy. It is still subject to the tax caps. So for the taxpayer, they'll see the increase, but they'll still get all their applicable tax cap credits. But you, as a unit of government, will impose a new levy. The estimated levy right now, we think, is about $1,556,000 a year, which would be about 5.66 cents.
He said that 1 million what?
About $1,556,000 would be the estimated levy. That rate would be approximately 5.66 cents per hundred. So if we look at a $250,000 homestead, which would have, the standard and supplemental homestead deductions, that'd be about $70 a year would be their increase. Again, as Stephanie talked about, we would do this for 20 years. Typical provisions too is that after the first 10 years, you should be able to call the bonds with no penalties or premiums. You should just be able to call whatever the outstanding principal is if you decide at that point in time you wanted to eliminate that debt and you had cash on hand to do it. Or you could potentially refinance it at that point in time.
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
20-year bond for property taxes. Typically, when you sell bonds like this in the market, they'll have a call provision at 10 years. So the bondholders know that whatever they buy in the front end for those first 10 years, terms won't change. But you will have the option to call all those remaining bonds outstanding after year 10 with no premium.
No premium for that. Okay.
Yes. That gives you an option if, we have big market changes, we might want to refinance at that point. If a lot of the consolidation, SEA1, all this stuff gets sorted out and you realize that you have cash on hand and you want to eliminate that debt after year 10, you can just call all that debt, get rid of the levy, and the rate for the debt service.
Or in scenario 2, 10 years down the road, if the market is more favorable, we could refinance for possibly save as well.
What's the rate now? Are you gonna get to that, or?
The rate now, we would anticipate probably 4.5, maybe a little less, and there are a whole lot of variables that go into this. The numbers I gave you were based on a rate of 4.75. From this point, after you give all your approvals, the transaction and the demographic information, the financial information of the township will all be sent to Standard & Poor's to go get a bond rating. Because something of this size and this length, for it to sell at an interest rate close to that, it'll need to be rated. So all that information will go to Standard & Poor's. They will issue a rating. Depending on what the rating is, we will either sell the bonds based on what that rating coming from Standard & Poor's is, or you'll have the option to buy bond insurance, which takes the rating up to a AA. We don't anticipate that you'll rate as a AA, but you might rate a notch or two below that. It may be financially advantageous for you to buy the insurance because at AA rates, the interest rate and your interest cost is going to be lower. And when we look across a 20-year period, you know, a few basis points will make a big difference across that 20-year period, interest savings versus buying an insurance policy. And that math, we do that after we get through the bond rating and we start to get close to the time that we're going to sell the bonds, which will be early August, to look at the market, see what it is, and we'll work with your underwriter to see what would your natural rating look like as interest cost in the market versus buying insurance to get it up to a AA. Turns out to just be a math problem at that point, but those are one of the things that we look at as we go to market.
Why wouldn't we qualify as AA or even single A? You said a few notches below that. We have guaranteed tax revenue. I mean,
You'll
we're
be,
sure bet to pay it back.
I'm sure you'll be single A or above,
Okay.
but I don't know that you'll get to AA. AA, just trying to think off the top of my head. Township wise, Washington Township, Hendricks County, which is Avon, is a AA minus. Johnson County is a AA minus. Hendricks County is a AA. I think the city of Franklin might be like an A plus. And again, you have a huge $2.7 billion tax base. That will help. But I don't know that it will get you to a AA.
But if we did buy the bond and insurance, we could achieve AA.
Yes. And again, like I say, we price out what the cost of the bond insurance is versus the anticipated interest savings. And it just kind of turns out to be a math problem, unless there's some other marketability standpoint that the underwriter brings up that by getting bond insurance, you're going to get more people that are going to bid on these bonds and bring their interest costs down.
And I understand this. You said 4.75 is the current estimated rate.
That's what I work these numbers on as an estimate. I think you're going to be below that. Like I say, today, if we did it, again, not knowing bond rating or anything else, I think you'd be around that 4.5 mark. Potentially it gets better than that, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So any questions on the structure, the financing, the repayment, the property taxes?
Are there any other options we could take advantage of to lower those rates any further, or is just the insurance the main recommendation?
The insurance is going to be the main driver, and again, that's just going to be dependent on what your underlying rating is.
Okay.
Stephanie, for the public hearing and the disclosures, are we going to open up public
Yes.
hearing and
So the only thing that you need to do tonight is to hold a public hearing for the public to be able to comment based on, there was a notice that went to the newspaper
Right.
and advertised that next week, like I said, you'll be acting upon, there's 3 resolutions you'll actually be considering. The notice of preliminary termination, which kind of goes through the rates that for the next 10 years, or excuse me, 20 years, I believe, of what your property tax levy would be. I don't know, I think that is 10 years. The one, then,
there's one section that's 10, there's one that we run for the duration.
okay, yeah. The notice of the lease that you'll be entering into. And then the third part is that additional appropriation, which again is basically saying that you're going to use your property taxes to be able to pay the lease as it comes for the next 20 years.
Right.
So all those 3 things you're going to be taking action upon next week after you've had 2 public hearings. So tonight is the first public hearing where the public can comment on those things.
What do you,
We don't have to start another hearing, right? It's part of the meeting.
Yeah, you can just
Right.
basically call it as a public hearing and
Right.
just ask anybody in the public to come up. Typically, I've seen it where you ask 3 times and see if anybody has any comments.
Okay.
Stephanie, does that include staff as well, or public in Decatur Township?
I think if you want to act as a public, you can, and you can speak in favor or against.
Okay. Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
may I speak on behalf of the fire department?
Yeah, we'll call a public hearing and we'll take taxpayer comments and public in general, please.
Brandon Wood, Fire Chief, Decatur Township Fire Department. I just want to thank the board for considering this venture into the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, because this building means a lot to us. It means a lot to the previous administrations as well as the current administration. I would like to thank Assistant Chief John Morrell for leading the project with the Building Corporation. He's done a phenomenal job. Trustee Holiday for his hard work and backing the firefighters. Stephanie and Jeff for meeting with us numerous times, as well as Jeff Bellamy. So we appreciate that as well. This is something that we want to make sure is our own. Whether you agree with me or not as the fire chief, you have to think about the people in the next 20, 30 years that's going to be here. I'll be gone in 7, 8 years, right? So it's the people coming after us that's going to make a big difference. And again, I just want to thank everyone for considering this building. This building's long overdue. It was said a couple months ago in a public meeting, why are we in the situation we are? We're in the situation we are because things weren't addressed and fixed when they should have been by previous administrations. And we appreciate you understanding that. So moving forward, I understand it's a lot of money to spend. It's a lot of money to invest, but I would rather do that now in the forefront and invest in our future than neglect the future and negate on the past. Right. So I want to make sure we move forward and do the right thing for our people and do the right thing for our communities, because that's what makes a difference. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any other comments? All right.
you know, I'd like to say
Yes, sir.
something. I mean, Chief, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer on any of this, but the only thing I'm really noticing though, spending this kind of money and the maintenance, and you were talking about it, we're not keeping up with what we currently have.
We are keeping up what we.
I don't believe so, sir.
Well, sir, we have maintenance records that we promised you, right? So
You are, but I'm not seeing it. We talked about some of the facilities we have. We're not taking care of those. We're just digging ourselves deeper into this, spending $20 million on another facility when there's other needs that we need to do here with our department too. That's not being up kept. And I'm not against this at all, but we need to be a little bit more stern on what we're going to be taking care of. I mean, I go by these other stations. I've seen the same dilapidated look to them that we've had for years. And it's really frustrating to me being a board member, being on here and being a taxpayer in the township.
Sure.
It worries me.
Mr. Chairman, may I approach again?
Yes, sir, please.
Board Member Hibbler brought up a great point. I am not negating the fact that our members do need to do a better job. However, we are addressing those needs. This is not something that happens overnight. I'm not going to promise you the world overnight. And I told you that back last year when we were talking about the fire truck. What we're talking about is we have people that disagree with me personally as the fire chief, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay because they're big with the administration in the past. Perfectly fine. The problem is We're trying to play catch up now than things that should have been done in the past, right? So with that, we're trying to do our best to make sure we move forward, correct our records. We do have mutual aid agreements with fire departments when apparatus goes down. Again, that's something that's beyond our control. Unless, please, Mr. Chairman, I don't mean any disrespect. Unless the board wants to give us $50 million for a maintenance facility, a fire station, mechanics that are certified, we can't do that. We're doing the best we can to pay for what we have, right? And that's what the community comes first. Okay. Again, I said this 2 months ago, and I'm going to make this public, Mr. Trustee. I apologize. You have it good now in the Decatur Township Fire Department. The city of Indianapolis comes in for the Indianapolis Fire Department. This is gone. The parades, the school events, it's gone. The community involvement is gone. Okay. And I don't mean any disrespect to the Indianapolis Fire Department. I love the Indianapolis Fire Department. But when it comes to Decatur Township, I'm a township person, and I want to keep things in the township. So Board Member Hibbler does have a great point, and we did talk about this, Greg, but we're doing the best we can to solidify our records. Our records are better. You have not asked for those records since that one meeting. You requested us to do that. Number two, if I was to pull a public records request, I can go back 10 years and see some of those communications with previous fire chiefs to see where we are with the maintenance and the logs and things of that nature. It's not good. We're not in a good spot in a situation of downgrading the fire department when it comes to $20 million. You have over 100 staff members of this fire department that knows what's going on. They know what the politics is with this board. They know who's against it and they know who's for it. That's sad. I've got a member on a certain shift that reports to me on things that's said behind the scenes that I don't appreciate. And that's okay. Because again, I'm not upset with that. I'm upset if we halt this project because of a personal opinion that we're not doing what we need to do as a fire department. There's only so many hours in the day when it comes to money. Senate Bill 1 is going to sidetrack us. I don't come to your business and tell you how to run your business, right? And I'm not meaning that any disrespect. I'm just saying I don't come to anybody's business and tell them how to run their business. You can tell me how to run the business because you're the board. My point is, if I was to come to your facility and say, you got dump trucks down, you got dump trucks speeding out here on the access road, that's okay? It's not okay. We have firemen that hit things in apparatus. Mm-hmm. That's not okay, but it's human nature. And we have to do what's right. We have to correct those actions. One of the things that we made a promise on, that we stick by that, I meet with Chief Morrell weekly on our maintenance law for you, because we did this for you and the fire department. But I wanted to prove to you that we can do things better. Mm-hmm. And we are doing things better. So, but all you're going to do, in my opinion, is you're going to make 100 people upset because they've lived in a building since 1992.
I am not against
falling apart.
Chief, I am not against any of this. I'm just saying we need to take better care of what we have.
100% agree.
When I see a truck leave, when I see one of the fire trucks leave one of the stores after they've gone to a market or something, they're not even on an emergency run, and they're cornering they're taking a corner at excess speed that they shouldn't be in on a ladder truck that cost a couple $1 million or better, or a new engine. It burns me to no end.
Sure.
And I'd ask for the same thing if somebody saw me or saw any of my trucks do the same thing.
We do regularly, but that's okay.
That's fine.
Just to try to expedite this, keep it on point. I understand that some maintenance logs were requested. How soon do you think you could collect those, or is that possible, Chief?
So we can collect them anytime.
Is it possible we could get those by this week?
Sure.
Great.
What's current?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think they're going to give a lot of peace of mind. We can keep this ball rolling fast if we had those.
And let me give you this sense of security, if you will. Number one, Greg, I am not against you at all. This is a this is a professional bias. Okay, it's not personal. The second thing is the documents that we have now, the construct in general of what we have now, we didn't have 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. We're doing what we can to move forward. I've realigned so many staff to meet the admissions and what the board has requested of me as the fire chief. we're moving forward with that. Our momentum is high, right? Our approval rating is high as it relates to camaraderie and the morale. We want to keep that moving. So I will always be an advocate of the people. I will always be an advocate of the firefighters first and foremost, and an advocate of the people, that's the taxpayers. And I don't care how you look at it. I'm not a politician. I'm not a politician, nor am I a school teacher or an attorney. But I will tell you that as the fire chief that's been in the fire service for over 25 years, I will tell you this is not uncommon. This is not uncommon. We had the same discussions at the Bargersville Fire Territory in 2010 when we built the building in 2013 on 135. Same scenario. Maintenance records, laws, training records, things of that. We improved on that. And that's what I'm trying to do here as the fire chief, is take us to the next level. And we've done a good job with that. And again, I can't do that without Chief Morrell. I can't do that without my admin chiefs. I can't do that without the firefighters. But we can't do all that without you guys to support us. All right? So, I apologize if I'm speaking out of line. I truly do. I do not want to do that in a public forum, but when our firefighters are taken into question, I'll go to bat for them. I'll discipline when discipline's needed, but I'll also make sure it's right, and I stand up for them. That's what I'll always do. That wasn't done in the past. Our leadership example is lead by respect and leadership, not intimidation. And that's the way it was years ago. Okay, so that's where I'm at with that. And we are doing a better job, Greg. We are doing a better job, Mr. Chairman. We are doing a better job to make sure that if we get those reports, we address those. That's the first I've heard of that. Chief, have you heard about that? A ladder truck taking a turn way too fast? Me neither. If we don't know about it, we can't address it. Now I can address it, and I will address it, because that's how I am. I want to make sure we're at the forefront of it, right? And that's where we are. Senate Bill 1, Jeff brought up a good point with Senate Bill 1. Across Indiana, everybody's going to be impacted. The school board, the fire boards, the commissions, everybody's going to be impacted. We're not a private company. We're a public company, right? We're a public organization. We're a governmental organization. And I think we all have to be on the same forefront as it relates to what we want to do to the future. What we want to do in the future is take those 12 or 14 guys upstairs right now and put them in a better living environment. Because I wouldn't come to your house and say, you know what, your yard's trash. Fix it. And I'm your neighbor.
I think we all agree that. That's what I'm talking. I mean, I'm just talking about this some of the stuff. Like, I've watched this building here, even though we're getting ready. This is getting ready to go away. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's panels off of it. There's roofing. There's different things like that. It's not that costly to upkeep that. Mm-hmm. It just it's just not a very good percentage that we're asking to put all this money in. I looked in there by me, right across the street. I look at the same dental truck sit there. It's been there for 10, 15 years, it seems like.
That was Pascal Arms.
That's fine. I don't care who it was, but it's still sitting there.
Yes, and I say that in respect to the timeline. We have tried. That dental truck was purchased unknowing to us how it was purchased. That's why we have to go through the proper channels, whether it's DOD, whether it's the state, whether it's DNR, whoever gave us that title, to not the physical title, but whoever gave that title to purchase it, that's what we have to do. We're trying to get rid of it. Task Force 1 looked at it 6 months ago and he said, I don't want this hunk of junk. I mean, it's not a bad truck, but he didn't want it, right? And
I'm just saying,
point is,
it's not a good look for us.
Mr. Trustee, can I say one more thing? I'm sorry. I agree with you, Greg, 100%. I don't think any firefighter would agree that this building looks awful from the outside. But if we were to take money and invest in this building currently, you got to look at two things. And I've said this before. Number one, you have to look at the standpoint of the cost to put into it. That's one. Then you have to match that to get it up to code. That's going to cost more to get it up to code. If you want to go to Station 72 and take a tour, I'll be more than happy to take you, but you're not going to like what you see because that building's been there neglected for so long. I get it. So long. I answered your question.
I get it. I get that part of it. I'm just saying from a public standpoint, they come by here and they see a panel that's been off for 5-6 years. Uh-huh. I get it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know
those, and they just every time a windstorm, this thing's like a wind tunnel.
I get that.
It's crazy.
I really do. I really do get that. And I mean, I understand. But how much? That's not a big cost just to take care of it. and fix it.
We're doing what we can with this building.
I understand.
We're doing what we can with this building. The firemen are doing what they can. Unless you want to provide me with another maintenance man and more, and I don't mean you, but if the community wants to supply me with more funding for a maintenance guy, 2 or 3 mechanics, some carpenters, we're doing the best we can with what we have. We have made staffing so limited on the admin side. We've moved people around to accommodate. I'm doing the job as fire chief. I'm the administrative assistant. I'm the secretary. I'm the filer. You know why? Because I love my job. We don't have the funding or the operatives to fill that spot right now.
And maybe we should look at something like that. I mean, those
Maybe
are
we
things
should, but I'm saving you money. I don't mind doing it. I got a paper cut today, right? So those are the things that I'm trying to do to make sure we're kind of on track to save you money, but on the same time, let you know that our worth is a lot more than coming to work 7 a.m., getting off at 7 a.m., making runs in between. It's camaraderie and it's health. Yeah.
I had a question, Chief. Is the current sleeping arrangement for our fighter bars still the same? Basically like submarine hot racking?
Pretty much, yeah. Only they're not bunks, they're spread out. But yes, absolutely.
And I'm assuming we just have the goal of recruiting future firefighters.
We do. Yep, absolutely. We just hired 6. Selfishly, if the board would approve me to do 2 more, I'd love to take 2 more. But again, with Senate Bill 1 and understanding how that is, it's virtually impossible right now. But with that, adding people in the next, what did you say, sort of 5-10 years, that's attrition, because we do have the largest class that we had when Chief Henson hired 10. Chief, was that 10 in 1999?
Yes,
9 or 10 Chief Henson class
was in 2003 with 30.
So even then, you go from 1999 to 2005 even, you're looking about 35, 40 people that could retire. Now, I don't know about age, but they could retire based on time on the department. That's a huge flip of the coin. And that's where we want to make sure that it's comfortable for our people. And I understand. I completely understand. I tell my kids the same thing. You want a bike? Why am I going to buy you a bike when you can't even take care of the one you got? Understandably so. But also understanding when they're beating their head that, we've tried fixing it over and over and over, but you can't keep putting duct tape on something when it keeps ripping off. That's where we were with apparatus. When I was assistant chief under Chief Morrell, it was my goal to bring the funding back a little bit. We were able to get more grants. We were able to get money that we didn't have it. I'm not bragging for me. I'm bragging on the fiscal management. Because I always jokingly say 2 things. Number 1, I don't want to go to jail. Number 2, I want to make sure that we're always on the up and up. Right. So when it comes to those logs, Mr. Parks, we can get those. We have those. We've done a better job with that. The program that we were using, ESO Station Check, is kind of iffy, but we've revamped the crossroads of that, as I call it. We've met in the middle, and now we have an Excel document that's formatable on SharePoint, so we can use that. But again, I'm not angry. Please don't think that. I'm passionate. I'm very passionate about our firefighters. I'm very passionate about our medics and EMTs and staff. I want to represent the trustee, and I want to represent my officers under me to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Again, human nature is one thing. I just had this conversation the other day to a gentleman about Xbox. You want to play Xbox? Whatever. But don't bring it here and open up a bunch of wires and boxes and things like that. It's a firehouse, right? But they have to live too. They have to live here for 24 hours.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but in all essence, I do want to thank everybody. And Mr. Hibbler, I do understand your concerns. I've always understood your concerns, but I also understand where we are. And, I'm a man, I'm professional enough to understand that, move forward past that, and that's okay. Again, understanding me as a person, as a fire chief, if you don't, that's okay. But you got to understand those 100 people we have on staff to move things to the future. And that's where I see it. So, but thank you for your concern. I always say this, Greg, we can converse, we just don't confront. And I think that if you can't have a talk and a discussion and get those out on the table, you're spinning your wheels, right? So, but I do appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys giving me the floor to speak on that. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Trustee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Any other comments or questions or?
You can close the hearing or seek anyone.
Yeah, any other public?
Close the hearing, correct?
Pastor, any comments? All right, I guess the public hearing is now closed. Yeah, I'll make a comment. I might see some trepidation in our faces. What's that? No, we're still going. The public hearing's closed, but the meeting's still on. You know, I've been on the board 5 years now. About that. We've always enjoyed a surplus in the bank, never went into debt. You know, we were always real questioning when we had to spend $700,000 on a fire truck. $20 million is a lot of money. I don't think some of us knew the number we were going to be presented with until tonight. Did you know 20 million?
No, I didn't know.
You know, and then we're told, well, you got to go get bonds next week. I'm just saying all this that, you know, if there's a little hesitation or some questions
A lot of
or
money.
a little nervousness on our part, maybe the public would appreciate that, considering my bill will go up another $100, and I notice it keeps going up. And we've also seen other townships kind of fold because they go into too much debt. I think we can handle this. I know that the firemen need this. Personally, I that's what I feel.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, I just wanted to make that comment. And I didn't know if there was, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna follow up whenever you were done.
About the bonds, so you said 20,600,000, and next week we'll have to approve that, correct?
20 million, so the project is 20,600,000. The bonds right now, it's not to exceed 20,350,000. This kind of goes back to what Jeff was saying. Depending on how pricing is, how interest rates are, when we come to the sale date, that will determine what the actual par amount of the project is.
Okay, so we're not
par
bound.
amount being the amount that you're borrowing through the bonds.
We're not bound to the number that we approve.
No, it's going to be a not to exceed amount.
Not
And
to
what
exceed.
you're approving next week, and there'll be time for more discussion, and my colleague Brad will be here too as well, and then you'll be back for additional questions. That is for that lease payment part.
Right. So is that so if we approve that, I guess I was under the impression we would be presented with, here's the design, here's the number, you know, before we ask for a bond.
Well,
For the you mean for the project design and things like that?
Right. Yeah. You know, show everybody the layout, show everybody the options and all that.
well, so first off, understand the project cost in this you mentioned, that's a maximum possible project cost. We are still going through the fine tuning of the design with the intentions of mainly making sure that the needs are met, it's not excessive, and that it is a fiscal responsible project to do. Do I think the project's going to get down to 18 million? No. Do I think we can get it down to 20-ish, less than that 20.6? Yes. We're still in that process. And again, back to the developer hiring phase of about a year ago, that was explained at that time. And it was explained that at that time that was the estimated project cost was around 20 million. But it was explained that there's steps in this whole process, and after the design is done, then the developer shores up and gives a final price with the build, operate, transfer method. And then that is also brought back to the board for final approval.
Okay, so if we'll approve this maximum on the bond, but then we also get to approve the final price tag on the.
Yes, I believe that's the process, and that is my intention. Again, this is kind of like, and you correct me, please, either one of you if I'm wrong in saying this. This is similar to when you go out and buy a house and get pre-approved for a mortgage. You may get pre-approved for hypothetically $500,000, but you buy the home at $300,000. Right. So So my take on this tonight is, if you want to look at it in that regard, You're seeking pre-approval of a $500,000 mortgage,
But we still have control at
But
least
what-
for another
yeah.
vote
But-
to approve the price,
correct?
to actually spend it.
Correct. Jeff, you got,
And what
you're
we,
chomping at the bit a little bit, please
yeah,
correct me if
one
I'm
of the things that
articulating.
we always do timing wise on these is, again, if we're gonna close mid-August, we are going to sell late July, the bonds. So assumably, the build, operate, transfer maximum not to exceed amount would be given a week before that. So mid-July, they say, okay, it's whatever the dollar amount is. We then scale back all our numbers so that you will only issue bonds as the amount you need to meet the project needs. So you're not going to borrow any more than what you have to. Then the underwriter will market that for about a week. They'll be sold in a kind of a semi-competitive sale with them to make sure all the bonds are issued. Then it'll take a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, for bond counsel to finish all the documents. Then you'll have cash on hand to undertake the project. But it will be scaled back to only the amounts you need to undertake the project to approve.
And I do understand, Jeff, for one thing. So actually next week is the final approval part for it. But you don't sign those documents until what Jeff just explained. Those documents will only be the amount that you need. So what you're really approving next week are the not to exceed amounts. You don't want to go anything higher than these interest rates. You don't want to go any higher than borrowing this amount. Those things will change, and you will then be a party to the documents. So on sale date, you'll be party to the bond purchase agreement of when the bonds get sold, and that you're agreeing to all of this. So that is really where the, I guess, next approval comes in, but you don't meet to act on that. Because as a board, or what you're required to do is to act on the not to exceed amounts, to authorize the lease, authorize the preliminary determination that yes, this project's important, yes, we want to issue debt for it, and to make sure, and with the additional appropriation, to designate that your property taxes will be used for this project.
But going forward, we still maintain the power and authority to actually go out to get, I mean, say hypothetically, for some reason it came back as $15 million. We're still going to be presented with that action.
You would not be signing documents for anything higher than you
Right.
have to borrow. And that's where I guess I will say the part where you continue to oversee the process is that you have to sign off on the sale price and you have to sign off on the closing of the bonds.
What authority are we sharing with the corporation? What authority do they have?
So they are approving the issuance of the bonds. You are approving that lease that goes to the payment of the bonds.
So they don't get to act on their own to determine how much was spent. It's still a board,
Because if you haven't
Determination.
pledged the lease payments to it,
right?
then there's no way for them to pay off the bonds.
Okay.
I had one question on this, just to make sure I understand the full procedure. If we were to vote on this, we're not voting to get 20 mil right up front. It's going to be in stages.
So next week, again, you'll be voting, not tonight. But you'll be voting on basically what's the max amount that you want to borrow for the project.
Mhm.
And so right now we have it in the documents as the 20,350,000 that you'll potentially up to that borrow.
Mhm.
The way that happens at closing, which is mid to late August, is that yes, all of those funds come in at whatever we've now sold the bonds for.
Mhm.
Okay, so all those come in, but they're held by the trustee, the bank trustee.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
they're held by the bank trustee. They're invested, and so then that's where the disbursements then come for the construction part, or to pay our fees for the closing. So that's how that all gets dispersed going forward.
And this would all be in periodic stages. So
You'll get all the money at once,
Mhm.
and then they will disperse to the constructors of the project.
okay.
And they'll also be investing the money at the same time. So you'll have revenue coming in, expenses going out, and everything lines up when you get to the end. You pay for the project and you don't have much left over.
But the thing I'm trying to understand is if say we're in stage one of this project and we're getting soil tests, that what have you, and this is going to cost $5 million, and then we get stage two, but the board wants to say, no, we don't want to spend the money on that. Would we have the authority to do that, or is it done?
I think it's done at the time you get the build, operate, transfer amount. You're going to then say, okay, this is the project we agree on. Borrow the funds, go forward with the project. But yeah, the die's been cast at that point.
Now, you were saying we could keep those bonds. Say if we wanted to get a fire truck and stuff, we can use what money is left
Not
over.
those bonds.
Oh, you can't.
No. These bonds that we're talking about, we're having a public hearing about, are the lease rental bonds through the building corporation. They
Okay.
are specifically
For the
this
building.
building project
Okay.
only. What you are preserving is your general obligation bond cap,
Mm-hmm.
which is a different statutory limit,
Okay.
that you are keeping that intact. So at a future point in time, if you need to finance a fire truck or something like that, you'll have the ability to go do that. Where if you burnt all of this capacity building the building,
Mm-hmm.
and then you needed to finance a fire truck, you'd be in trouble.
Okay.
So in the end, we approve the potential, I like that word used, the potential to use up to this amount. But we're getting to another action where we actually approve what we spend, correct?
That's when you sign those documents,
Yeah.
when it's determined what the sale price of the bonds will be. But that's why I just want to make it clear that you won't be acting again as the board to say, okay, well, now we only want the project to be 15 million.
We won't be acting as a board to do that?
No, because what you're going to do next week is you're going to approve that the project can be up to, the bond amount can be up to 20,350,000. The time when you actually like sign and you'll find out whether it's less or not is when the bonds are being sold, like that day, which I think we have right now as targeted.
That goes against
around-
what you just asked.
Yeah, maybe you don't understand what I'm saying. So we haven't had an official meeting where we've been presented with, here's some designs, here's some options from our bot, this is what price tag. I think that's what we were anticipating at some point voting on.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So
Very
we're
When you
talking
say
about
there's
the
no more
financing.
action that we
Yes.
have, that makes us confused.
That's like what Jeff was saying. Sorry, that is the bond process part. That's different than the bond financing part, which is what we're going through right now. And I would defer.
Oh, right. So we don't.
But you.
I think the biggest heartburn I have, I'm thinking about just as my position on the board is for the township, for taxpayers, is that what kind of feedback or what kind of pushback we're gonna have. $100 is $100.
Comment on that earlier. We did have a pretty big public turnout last year, and I intend to send out more communication this week to make sure everybody is aware of it. But when we did have that public hearing last year with a lot of people from the civic council and the public were here, and the overwhelming majority supported this this decision for a new firehouse. So that's really where I was on the fence between fiscal conservatism and the future, but seeing that turnout with a majority support kind of makes the job a little bit easier to say, this is what the people want. You want property tax increase.
That was brought up then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there will be another notice in the newspaper. So after you act next week and you do that determination of what the rates will be, that will go back in the newspaper. And there is a process by which the public can petition to object to that.
Right.
Okay.
I'm just seeing people a lot. With power bills and fuel and everything else, they're just everybody's struggling a little bit. So I understand you don't want to cut safety. We need to build this. We understand that.
Yeah, if there were like 99.9% of Decatur here saying they don't want it, that's kind of the decision I would go with. But it's almost the exact opposite. So.
But again, you don't have to act on that until next week. So you still have more time to collect.
that time.
Yeah.
Okay. A little homework to do this next week. Well, thank you very much.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Do you have any more questions for them? Okay. Thank you. Any more comments on that agenda item before we move on?
No.
Okay. All right. Anything else you wanted to add, Trustee?
No, I think good question and asked, and I mean, I think at the end of the day, we're as anxious as anyone to get that final figure, get it out, get it publicized, and start doing the if you will, the advertising of it. As I've mentioned before, we probably will go through a zoning approval. Again, this results in the opportunity for people to oppose the project and do some other steps as well. We're excited, as I say, to get that, final figure so that we can go out and specifically give instead of guesstimate, information that could be construed one way or off the other way. We're prepared to do that as soon as we get that done and get things rolling and the next steps going.
Great.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go hit the data center.
Yeah.
5 million would come in handy.
See,
Absolutely.
Yes, if they want that tax abatement, they'll pay for it. Fire department.
Hear that, Sabi?
That tax abatement sure won't adversely affect the township income at all. Nope. Nor will
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you.
Be safe.
All righty. Okay. Good on this. All righty. Next item on the agenda, Resolution 2026-02, recognizing Pastor Tim Lindsay II for his service to the community. Do you know you're on here?
I would like to yield the floor, Mr. Sheriff, if you turn it over to me, to
Please.
Chief Wood, who will read the resolution. And then I can provide a little explanation after that point.
How you doing? Doing all right? All right. Can you stand for me? All right, first of all, say congratulations. This is resolution number 2026-02. The Township Board of Decatur Township, Marion County, met at a duly called and authorized meeting of the board held on the date set forth below. Such meeting being called pursuant to a notice stating the time, place, and purpose of the meeting received by all board members, and the following resolution was made, seconded, and adopted by a majority of those present at the meeting, which constituted a legal quorum of the board. Whereas Pastor Tim Lindsay II joined the staff of Lifeline Baptist Church in 1999. Whereas Pastor Tim Lindsay II became the senior pastor of Lifeline Baptist Church in February of 2011. And whereas although Lifeline Baptist Church is in neighboring Madison Township, Morgan County, Indiana, many of its parishioners are residents of Decatur Township, Marion County, Indiana. Whereas Pastor Tim Lindsay II in 2025 volunteered services as chaplain to the government of Decatur Township and Decatur Township Fire Department. And whereas Pastor Tim Lindsay II has served as a volunteer chaplain to the Indianapolis, Marion County City County Council. And whereas Pastor Tim Lindsay II is affiliated with Public Servants Prayer, Indiana, which is an organization that provides spiritual leadership to Indiana and other governmental entities. And whereas Pastor Lindsay II and his late wife, Ruthie, have 3 adult children who also minister to the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the board that 1, the Township Board and Trustee acknowledge and congratulate Pastor Tim Lindsay II for his nearly 30 years of service to Lifeline Baptist Church. The Township Board and Trustee acknowledge and congratulate Pastor Tim Lindsay II for his 15 years of service to the Lifeline Baptist Church as its senior pastor. The Township Board and Trustee recognize Pastor Tim Lindsay II multiple areas of service to Decatur Township, Marion County, as well as the entire state of Indiana. The Township Board and Trustee express their appreciation to Pastor Tim Lindsay II for his multiple areas of service to Decatur Township, Marion County, as well as the entire state of Indiana, which will be adopted this the 24th day of March 2026. And on behalf of the Decatur Township Fire Department, in conjunction with the board, I just want to say thank you very much for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate your. Yeah. That's cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, I noticed you had an official chaplain shirt on.
You know, when I ordered that, I spelled it right.
That's great. That is awesome. So do we need to vote on this then? Or?
Yes.
All right, I'll take a motion to approve resolution number 2026-02.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. It's approved. Thank you, sir.
If I just may, his church did recognize him a few weeks ago. I got an invite to attend the celebration, but wasn't able to attend, or did be blunt, my grandchild trumped you.
Yeah.
But I thought it was worthy in order that, particularly with his involvement and support of us and personally with me, the last 8 years that I spent on council and now 5 as a trustee, I wanted to honor and recognize him. Having that passed, I will pass around the resolution for all of you to sign.
Yeah.
The single page, and then in the folders are 3 copies of the resolution I'd like signed with a consistent pin and that type of thing,
Okay.
so that we can present them to him. And
Yeah.
if he wants more copies, we'll argue to get that figured out at a later time.
So sign all 3 of them.
You'll always have 4 pages. There's 3 in each, 1 in each folder. So there's 3 that way to present to him.
Okay.
And then the 1 single page is for the township records.
Gotcha.
Please.
Feel like Trump.
Yeah, hey,
Trump on the night of his inauguration, he's in his office just signing a million things.
Oh, this is a good one.
He had a stack of them on his desk.
or you could be just like Biden.
Yeah, I know, right? We need an auto.
I think it was even funnier that Japan's president fell over laughing
Laughing
when she saw the picture.
Yeah, he has them all on display.
It was after the Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, I know, right?
That was a low blow.
So each line here, is that what we got?
Oh, just sign once below me on each
Once more.
paper.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that when he was recognizing you, that with how much volunteer service you do with the city council and now to us, and I almost felt a little bad even approaching you about this, because I was like, man, how much time does this man have? Because I just wanted to thank your congregation, for sharing you with us. You know?
I had a little extra time, so.
Yeah.
But if Ruthie was here, she probably would have said no. But I had a little extra time. My kids are adults, so it's a privilege.
It gives you something to do.
I can imagine your congregation can keep you busy, and then you're doing all this,
Something a little different.
and I know it's a lot of work for you, and you're meeting men and women and desperate times sometimes, I would imagine, especially in a fire department, so thank you very much. Appreciate it. I think we talked, my dad was a chaplain, so I saw everything he did, ministering to soldiers and,
That's cool.
yeah, he had to go to war, give people communion under, camo tents, and just being with them while they were out there, wearing his cross, and
What wars was he?
just the Gulf War.
Gulf War.
Yep.
Did he also speak German or?
No.
No. Okay. That would be interesting to hear a sermon given in German.
I remember the soldiers would come to him and they'd be going through trouble at home or whatever. He was always there for them. So I can imagine the things you're doing. And then I see you're also in South America. Yeah,
That's cool.
that's great.
Where was that at?
Peru.
Oh, okay. Nice. Very cool.
I'm not traveling much this year.
Yeah.
I say that, but I am going to Israel. I'm supposed to anyway.
Oh,
are you really?
In May, but yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
that'd be
Oh, you
sad.
be careful.
Yeah, well, maybe so. Let's see. Every,
Oh, God.
I've been, this will be the third time, and every time you go, it's always after some conflict. We'll see.
This one seems worse than the rest.
I don't disagree. They may cancel it, so we'll see. But I'm going with a bunch of elected
Heard
officials.
the fireworks.
Oh, are you really?
I heard the fireworks are really good.
Yeah. You see the Iron Dome go off. And
I thought that'd be cool.
you might miss once in a while.
Or the new Iron Beam.
Yeah, they have a laser now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. All right.
Just
One more.
yeah, a couple, two more. One more. There we go. Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda: Resolution 2026-03, designation of EMS week.
Yes. This is something we've done several years as a board and the township to recognize all our fire department staff or EMS professionals one way or the other, to recognize them. Truthfully, I apologize. I don't know which organization does it, but every May, I think the third week in May, they do designate EMS week, so we're acknowledging that. And I think we'll have, as we've done in the past, the department will plan some special honors and celebrations for them that week.
Great.
So we appreciate your reapproval of a previously approved resolutions.
All right. I have a motion to accept 2026-03.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye. It's approved.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate the EMS. Yeah. So I say, if there's any one time you want government to be there for you, it's when you dial 911. You know?
And then if I just may, in your packet is the typical financial information investment report from Trust Indiana. One thing I'll add is relating to the proposed building project. As you know, we've been working with the school system for years to hopefully be able to move, gain some land around this project adjacent to us. They have reached out to us and asked that we have a board meeting to meet with a couple of their members and the school superintendent. With spring break this week, they asked that we get that done next week, and I think it's in our best interest to get that done. They want to present, I guess, some thoughts to you folks as the board. So I will send notice out that I'm scheduling a board meeting on April 1st, which will be next Wednesday. It's 2 nights in a row because we do have the board meeting scheduled March 31st as well. So
So we're gonna have a board meeting on April 1st.
and the 31st and the 1st, yes. In order to accommodate schedules and particularly for the township's attorney to attend, we will need to move that start time to 6:45. So
Okay.
Say
On the
April 1st, 6:45.
on the 1st.
Okay, Josh. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
You can work another hour.
Did you get that text and go, oh?
I did.
That's what I was wondering. Well, Jared's in South Carolina, so he had
I was,
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I was on the phone call and
Yeah.
it got away from me, so.
I could do the same thing.
So that's it.
Well, there's old, are we, looking at this old resolution or the inspection fees?
We still have it being vetted with the attorney.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
He wants to have a really good conversation with the Department of Homeland Security folks.
Well,
We reached a little snag with that in the regard that the original attorney that advised our deputy chief is now gone, so it's a matter of trying to get their new attorney up to speed on what the old attorney said. So
Gotcha.
it'll probably be a couple months before we actually get to where we can entertain that entity.
Okay.
I think we're all.
Yeah, for that,
For that.
for sure.
I appreciate it.
Any other new business? Do you have any announcements,
So
anybody?
good they tell me you're cheap for once. Well, you guys probably went to Jack.
Do we need to sign the EMS thing?
Oh, did I not pass that around? My apologies. Yes, we did. Thank you.
You wanted me to take her top, which is a new Mediterranean place.
EMS week.
Mediterranean.
EMS.
Okay,
EMS week.
I've heard of it.
EMS week.
I'm talking business.
Yeah.
All right, any other business before we adjourn? All right,
That's all I have. Thank you.
meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
There.
All right, you can cuss now, Cindy.
Yeah.